Hi guys, welcome to Reality with T. So here we are again with Virginia and Eric, married at first sight, right? So we start out, they tell each other their passwords and they say it on national TV. So I'm like, okay. But they talk about exchanging passwords and the whole thing. And I think she said something about if you saw that I was texting my guy friends, how would you feel? And he's like, well, do you have more than the two that I met that you would be texting? And like he feels that like if it was like Instagram, you shouldn't be liking exes photos on Instagram. You shouldn't be friends with your exes if you've ever done anything with them. And of course, she, has a lot of male friends and she's probably in touch with everybody. And honestly, she just feels like a friendly person. You can have platonic relationships with exes. You can have platonic relationships with males. And I think that she's one of those people that's able to do that. And he just doesn't understand that. And but I do notice that they're avoiding all the tough subjects. You know what I mean? When things come up, they kind of just go to the happy place. So Dr. Viviana pops in on them and they talk immediately about the fact that they have very different life views, right? He is willing to be open to her views, but she knows that they're both so opposite that either of them are never going to change their views for the other person, right? They want to be open. So Eric, of course, talks about how he has his military background. Basically, Eric is conservative. He's probably a Trump supporter. He probably doesn't believe in gay marriage and things like that. And remember, she is very liberal, and her sister is in a gay marriage and has kids and the whole thing. And she's basically said, like, I don't want to be with anybody who will not accept my family. You know what I mean? Because that's the biggest thing. If you don't accept my sister, we can't be together. I remember she said that like a few episodes ago. And so that's going to be an issue because I think in the past, before the whole Trump regime, you could be on two opposite sides. Like it was kind of like funny. Like I had an uncle that was a Republican and it was kind of like funny. You know what I mean? And it was like, oh, you're voting Republican, ha ha ha, because we weren't so polarized. But now when Trump was in office, we had all this racism coming up. To be a Trump supporter to me is equal to, if you support him, you support his views of, the bigotry, the racism and all those things. So it is very polarizing from being a liberal, who is accepting of everyone, who looks for the benefit, how things can benefit everybody, trying to help out the little man, it's more equal distribution of wealth, the whole thing. That's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna work for them. I think it's gonna be a big thing because he is very adamant about having kids. And when you think about having kids, you're thinking about you have to pass along your views to the kids. So which way are they gonna steer the kids? More conservative, more liberal? Are you going to tell the kids not to accept gay marriage? Even though he said, your sister, I have no problem with the choice your sister made, what he's not saying out loud is, I'm a conservative and I don't really agree with the gay marriage thing. And that's going to be a problem for Virginia. So, I think that the social issues, he says, the social justice issues are very hard for him to talk about. And it just really isn't passionate about it. And I think she wants somebody, I think, like maybe kind of like Ryan, who is passionate about social justice issues. He's not comfortable talking about it because a lot of Trump supporters are just not comfortable talking about it, especially on TV, that you are supporting a bigot. You know what I mean? So with her, he's not comfortable talking about those things. So that's going to be an issue because she's so gung-ho. Maybe she should have been with Ryan. You know what I mean? But I think maybe she's a little too flighty for him, but I don't know. So, basically, he also tells Dr. Viviana, if she doesn't want to have kids, I'm done. And I hate that everything with him is just so ultimate. You know what I mean? If she doesn't want to do this, I'm out. If she doesn't want to do this, I'm out. Like there's no compromise here. And I get that it does need to be that way because it's a very short courting period. You have to get to know the person and you do have to let the other person know your boundaries. But I mean, you also have to be willing to compromise in some ways because she talked about, wanting kids but not right now. Remember, he's older. He doesn't want to be over 40 having kids. She doesn't want to be under 30 having kids. She has some time with her. So they have a lot of differences, and I don't know if this is going to work out for them either. I think this is a season with just not great matches, great people, but not great matches. So, he says he's not waiting until he's 40 to have kids. I just hate the demanding language that he uses. So, Eric explains to her later the reason, this is probably the root of some of his control issues, that he has always been cheated on and he's never cheated. And that makes me think, why? Why are people always cheating on you? What's going on? What are you doing? What are you not doing? You know what I mean? Like, what's that about? And so basically, he doesn't trust anybody. He might say, I might trust you as my girl, as my wife, but I don't trust the people around you. I don't trust anybody. You know what I mean? They might try to make a move on you. This is why he's extra tight, because it's like people are always cheating on me. So all of this, you like my exes and sleeping on these men's couches and blah, 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 blah. Outside of the two men, I know I'm not comfortable with it. You know what I mean? Virginia discusses how her parents fought a lot when she was younger. It sounds like it was a pretty tumultuous relationship between her parents, and she's probably seen a lot and been exposed to a lot way too early, and it has affected her, and she has not worked through it. And so she was made to be the middleman, you know what I mean? And which sucks, you know what I mean? Like, don't put your kids in the middle of this stuff. Don't make them choose, you know. I have felt that way. I still feel that way sometimes between my parents. You know what I mean? And it's a sucky situation even at my age. So imagine as a kid, you know what I mean? Being like the person you don't want to, you want to be the people pleaser to everybody. You don't want to make mom upset. You don't want to make dad upset, but you love both of them. You know what I mean? It got to the point where she had to cut off her dad. And then something about her mother moved here, so then she opened up the communication with her dad. I think that's what happened. I'm watching a lot of reality shows. I might get them mixed up, but I believe she did have to cut off her dad. And so, but these are the reasons why she worries about having kids, because she doesn't want to put them in that situation. You know what I mean? She doesn't want to ever get to a point where they're fighting over custody of the kids and fighting over who sees who and when, and you're upset at me and blah, 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 because it isn't a great situation. So that's something they're going to have to work through. I don't know how promising this relationship is. They always say, oh, we're great, because the chemistry is there. But when they actually get to the real issues, they're pretty much on opposite ends of the spectrum on everything that really matters. So we'll see how this goes. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.